Welcome back to the channel. This morning we are going to jump into a meeting actually with one of my team members, Dante. He and I are going to work on the mid-lease inspection. So that is the inspection at the middle of every single lease. We go into the unit and we make sure that the lease is being followed and just do some proactive maintenance, see if we need to do anything for the tenant, make sure that they're happy, and ultimately just show that the landlord knows that we are at that property every 6 months, if not more frequent than that. So let's jump into the meeting and we will do some systems and processes and also talk on just some other things that I want to clean up inside of this process so that way we can provide a better service to our clients. We'll edit all that crap out. Dude, you should see what we got going on here. I got 2 cameras, everything.
Yeah.
Let me so I'm going to share my screen and basically go through what we currently have set up for the processes so that way you know how right now we are tracking this. So right now we do have a mid-lease inspection, category in Lead Simple. It kicks from the new tenant onboarding automatically. I know a lot of these pages may mean very little to you because you're not in the back end of Lead Simple, but one of these will kick, here it is. So the final stage, current tenant renewed, mid-lease inspection would start at that point.
Yeah.
Even if a new tenant moved in, a mid-lease inspection would begin, and then inherited tenant probably need to create a mid-lease from there. So that's why we have these meetings to catch things like that. So this is all ultimately the new tenant onboarding. Have it just in case in the lease renewal. When new tenant onboarding, we have a new tenant that can come in by taking on a new landlord that has existing tenants, landlord that has a vacant unit, whether that be a new landlord for us or not. We would do a new tenant onboarding. What was the third? Third was just current tenant renewed. May or may not that stage even need to exist, but it's not bad to have because the lease renewal process right here also is kicking us over into a mid-lease inspection. Basically, all I'm trying to say is the team members that are operating the units to create a tenant to move in or, start a lease, there is a button for them to start kicking off these mid-leases. One of the major issues is when you start looking into, okay, it's nice that we have a ticket item for every property, but as you know, we have things like Stonehenge. We have 35 units in one community. We're going to save a lot of time and money if we do all 35 of those units at once. The individual ticket items of them dropping in here, it is helpful, but it's not something I want to stop unless we have a better idea. But basically all I'm trying to say is for properties like Washington Pike and Stonehenge, those are units that will all be done at once because we don't promise our landlords that we're doing that at the exact 6-month mark in between a 12-month lease or anything like that. We're just saying, hey, at some point between the 3rd month and like the 8th month inside of that lease, we're going to be at that property. And the single families, even a single family, we're not promising like dead center in the middle of that 6 months. It might be 8 months in, it may be 4 months in, because we can't promise a specific date because we're going to end up, if we're doing good at our jobs, where we're going to have a lot of leases start in the spring and end in the spring because they're all 12-month leases and we're always trying to get them gone between, let's say, April through August. So spring through summer is where most landlords are going to want their lease to start because that's where the most demand is. What that's going to look like over our portfolio over time, like there's a give and take of, we don't want all of our leases starting in 1 month. We can't take on 500 leases and which would be like 500 lease renewals and move out inspections in one single month per year. At the same time, we can't just hurt certain landlords and just be forcing them to have like a lease start on like Christmas Day. So there's a give and take, and we don't want anyone to lose, but we do need to be mindful of our own assembly lines. So number one is we're trying to stagger those leases out on the leasing side, which is obviously not the department you're in. But then on the mid-lease inspections, I want you to basically be proactive on making sure that we do those on quieter times of the year, because we don't necessarily have time for it in the busier season. So it's going to come in handy because it's in the middle of the lease. Middle of the lease hopefully is typically during the winter. So winter season will be basically our mid-lease timing period. To get a lot of the bulk properties done, we can go and hire less team members over time if we do this more efficiently. And we just had a meeting. I had a meeting with Ann and CJ yesterday on this, and I was like, hey, like if we're not able to necessarily, get back to leads within 30 minutes to an hour every time somebody new comes into our system, like we will have to hire a receptionist. And if we hire a receptionist, no one gets raises. So it's like they are going to work together, and they've already put together a better plan of action, and Ann's kind of working with CJ a lot more, and I'm happy about it. And they're not doing a bad job. It's just not an amazing job at the moment. And it's hard. You're trying to balance between trying to spend time with new leads, also trying to get the people that have actually applied to, move forward and sign some leases, along with getting marketing started. So, they do have a lot on their plate, and everything's super important to get done. So there's not the greatest way to list what's most important to least important when everything has to get done that day. But bottom line, in the mid-lease inspection side of things, this is where a lot of property managers will just like kind of push it under the rug, and they're gonna probably skip a few. And I don't want to be that company, because that's where you get fired, and that's also where you just lose that 5% checkup, and then all of a sudden 10 years later you did just as bad as if a landlord was self-managing and wasn't paying attention. That being said, the positive sides of this mid-lease inspection is it's not too complicated. So we, whether it be you or somebody else on the team, it's really just like going into the property and making sure it's clean. People are treating things right and paying attention to things that would clue you that they may have a pet and they're not paying a pet fee, and or the property doesn't allow pets and they're just blindly breaking the rules. So prior to inspection of multifamily property, schedule all same day. Make sure process due date is day of inspection. Create event on Google Calendar. Wednesday inspection, invite team member to calendar. And then this is where the auto texts would start. They're not going to automatically go out, but they're definitely going to be a script. So this is, Dante with Stonebrook Properties will be stopping by on the due date, which is one of the tasks above, between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to inspect your unit for maintenance concerns. We'll knock and enter with our key. If you're not home, please reply thanks to confirm. And that is immediately when the process kind of starts. That shouldn't be sent out like super early.
I think that's how the move out is.
Yeah.
Or end of lease, 10 days.
And I just want people to confirm that the text was actually sent out, because this is all about safety for our team. Because obviously, like, we're going into the unit with our keys. The tenant can be there. They're more than allowed to walk the unit with us. But at the same time, like, we're going to wear our orange vest. We're going to have our signs out, and we're entering the property with our keys. And then one day before, it's just the same text continually. And it's going to have the process due date when this all starts is that day. So most importantly, when you begin this process, that every time you create a ticket item like this, so when you start a process like this, so someone on our team will do it. It's not necessarily going to be you, but that due at the team member, like, will have to choose the day that they want to do it on. Just do like 12 o'clock that day. And then that time signature is dictating those text messages being sent out. And that's how that is being worked. So just so you know, that is the one human error that can happen and make those text messages go out on incorrect days and also provide an incorrect date for it to occur. So prior to inspection is just a lot of communication. Upload, save PDF of the ticket, Google Drive, create a note with any other details, and then it's done. So it's, you know, this is in out. We want to be efficient. We want to provide value, but at the end of the day, we got to do a lot of these a year. So this is the skeleton of how it's all going to work. So this is like the hardest part of everything is done. Now we just need to probably go into Jot form, and this will be the easiest one to create because it's not a turnover where we have to list all of the repairs that we need to get done by a maintenance guy. We don't have to do much other than have a checklist and take photos. So if we do this in Jot form or we do this in the Buildium software, I don't really care. I think Jot form could be a better option because it's a URL link. There's no apps. You can download the Jot form app. It's also more app friendly for mobile devices. What are your thoughts on all that?
I mean, Jot form seems to work good. I mean, I think it's just pretty as simple as you can make something.
Yeah. For me, we could knock out a lot of these if we just created a quick, like I'm actually going to just go on a Jot form right now and like I'll build it with you. It don't matter. I gotta get this stupid code.
80113.
Yeah, I got it. My boy got 4 screens, man. Let's create one. That way we can kind of know who's doing it on the team. If you're doing multifamily, it will need to be a separate form per unit. Oh, here it is. That's a little easier. And then file upload, there it is. Oh, no image. How do you want to do this? Do you want me to do it like per room right here and have a whole bunch of areas, or like just have it like generic rules? I remember that we went through that property in Maryville together. Do you still have that list that you could maybe like hit me in the Google chat real quick? Drop down. We'll do stars. So that'll be kind of at the end, but at least we can do that. So basically, I'll build the rest of this out, but we can really get Jotform to be better than Buildium, I think.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like way easier to train people, and they won't necessarily have to download an app. And if they do, it'll be a basic app. They can sign in with any email and not be in our system so much.
All right, guys, I did not want to end the video with this type of an edit, but here I am. I'm going to finish up and just let you know that I appreciate you guys stepping into one of our team meetings. I think that it's important to show behind the scenes. I try to do these videos so that way, you know, if you're a landlord yourself that owns some properties in Knoxville, Tennessee, or even the Tri-Cities area, and you're trying to get to know me or just figure out who the next property manager that you want to, you know, take a risk on, really, and just learn about them. So I think it's important that we put this kind of content out there so that way you don't have to go 6 to 12 months to understand how a property manager thinks. You can watch all these videos and then take action and know that you're making the right or wrong decision and not even reach out to me based on how I look at real estate and how our team operates. So I appreciate the time. Subscribe below, like, put the bell button on so that way you get notified when we put out content. We're going to be doing content every single week. So I think it's important that if you're interested in Stonebrook and working with me, to keep watching, keep learning, and then comment below questions. I'm constantly learning in property management. I've been doing it for just over 3 years, and I feel like we are very, very good at knowing what to do when things happen because there's not as many surprises as day one. But at the same time, you have to be an attorney, you know, quote unquote, because you got to read leases and understand contracts. You have to be a good handyman because you're always negotiating those prices and making sure people are doing the smart job instead of the quick and easy or over quoting something that does not need to be an extravagant project. You got to be a leasing agent, so a salesperson, to be able to convert your sales pipeline into signing leases and keeping those vacancy rates nice and low. And just all of the departments of property management can always be teaching you something. So stick around, appreciate it, and rent is due.